One of the questions that we often get at our practice is, how do I know that therapy is working? Right? How do I know that, my therapist that I'm seeing, who is a somatic therapist or an EMDR therapist, that the therapy is working? And I always invite that question with so much ease and with so much gratitude for bringing that up, because if you're in counseling, of course you should be, experiencing some kind of shift, and you should understand why you're in counseling. So here are some tips to let you know that therapy is working. Number one of the tips is that you have more clarity. Okay. So we know that clarity is half of the solution. If you're starting to get more clear on, your problems, getting clearer about, the stuck points in your life, getting clearer about who you are and why you are the way you are, that's one of the shifts, letting you know that therapy is working. Because when we feel confused, then we walk around with these confusing burdens and just feeling foggy, and just getting rid of that fogginess is incredibly helpful. So that's number one. Number two, how you know that therapy is working, is if you notice that you actually have the capacity to navigate situations with a little more ease than before. So if you have a lot of anxiety, or if you deal with depression, or if you have, chaotic family dynamics, it doesn't mean that when you start therapy, you're not going to struggle anymore. It just means that when those situations come up, you will navigate them with more ease than before. So there's a shift there. Okay, so that's the second pointer. The third thing is that you start hearing your therapist's voice in your head. So what that means is, let's say you're in a social situation and there's somebody who looks at you and comes over to you and says something to you, or is a little passive. In your head, because you have this therapeutic relationship, you might almost recall or imagine or channel your therapist's voice, which would be this is not about you. You really want to choose if you want to engage right now or not. Right? Versus engaging, getting involved in all of this tangled up stuff, and then eventually disengaging or having to deal with the cleanup, right? So just to repeat, right? Number one is that you feel a lot clearer in understanding yourself and situations. Number two is that you have a little bit more ease in situations, struggles, whatever it is, than before. And number three is that you channel your therapist's voice. The fourth thing that I would say, is that you notice a shift in your symptoms. And when I say a shift in your symptoms, what I mean is that, whatever symptoms brought you to therapy, you should be feeling some kind of shift. So, and the reason I'm pausing on this is because, when clients call our practice and they ask they say oh, I want to get better at this, that, and the other, we're always well, what does that actually mean, right? You say you have anxiety. What does that mean for you, right? So it has to be personalized to you. So if you have anxiety and your anxiety is obsessive thoughts, then the symptoms of obsessive thoughts should start going down. Okay. Now, sometimes it's behavioral, where the therapist is dealing with the behavioral component and helping you challenge your thoughts. And sometimes there's an underlying trauma or neglect that's connected to the obsessive thoughts, and that might need a little longer term work because that's connected to the attachment dynamic relationally. So I don't want to get off track on that, but basically that you're starting to see a shift in your symptoms. And the last pointer that I would say that you're starting to notice that therapy is helping is that when you look back at the person you were before you started therapy and the person you are right now, you notice a difference. And it might not be tangible, but you notice that this was a smart choice, right? This was a smart choice. And, it might not be completely tangible, the reasons why, but there's just a sense of steadiness or a certain sense of confidence or whatever it is, it feels like a good choice. And when you look to the pre-therapy version, to the current therapy version, you see a shift. And that's letting you know that there's something that's working, okay? Because when it comes to the scientific research of what's working or what's not working, there's a lot of components at play of why therapy works and, how and why people have symptom shifts and things like that. So just to recap, okay, ways to let you know that therapy is working: somatic therapy, internal family systems, EMDR, any kind of therapy that you're getting, is number one, you feel a lot more clear, right? Number two is that you are navigating situations with a little bit more ease. Number three is that you're able to channel your therapist's voice in situations. Number four is that you start feeling a shift in the symptoms that you reached out to therapy for. And number five is that you're just feeling when you compare the pre-therapy self to the current therapy self, you're noticing an overall more positive shift. So those are some tips. And if you are looking for therapy and you're located anywhere in New York, then reach out to our practice. We have a specialized team where we offer really comprehensive therapy for people who are navigating anxiety, depression. We offer EMDR therapy, somatic therapies, parts work, as well as the cognitive talk therapies. Reach out today, and definitely stay tuned for more videos to hear some tidbits and some care to support you on your journey to healing.